Good evening, race fans. My name is Philip Fitzsimmons on behalf of Team Coon Squad Broadcasting Network, bringing you round 8 of the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway as we pull up our race information here today. As always, with the Rubbins Racing Next Gen League, great races with great attitudes, also 1 hour long races if you didn't already know, and we'll have no fast repairs. Once again, this has been a new addition to the season. I know it's already round 8 and you've heard it 8 times already, however, with these no fast repairs, drivers will have to be more careful with how they manage their risk, because if they get any damage on that car, that could really impede themselves and not help them out later on in that race. So now then, we're going to jump right into qualifying, as it looks like our final drivers are making their laps here. We'll see if anyone is still running. I believe here we go, Matt Kleeman in the number 19 Ford machine is coming out of turn 4 to set his final lap time here tonight. And it looks like he crossed the line to go P12, that'll be for him. And Carter Lins, I believe, yes, is the last man on track now to complete his lap time. It looks like he puts himself in P7. That's a really good time from him. However, though, quick point to note, in practice, these drivers are very, very close on pace. The top 4 drivers were only separated by 1/100th of a second. So it definitely means we're going to have some great racing. However, though, a point to note with Texas Motor Speedway, it is a track which only has 1 groove. Later on, you may see a fight for that bottom groove, as it is really the only way to go around this circuit quickly and to save your tyres. So, on those first few laps, drivers will be fighting hammer and tongue to get down to that bottom line. And then it should be going single file from then on. As always, though, sponsored by Bookkicker and Next Level Racing. We really appreciate you guys sponsoring the league and helping us out with the running of it. We're just waiting for the end of qualifying now so we can get and grid up and running, and we can run through who is where for the race here tonight. On provisional pole, it looks like we'll have the number 2 machine of Greg Mitchell sending a 30.03, followed by Nick Cleo, Jared Reed, your top 3. We'll go through the grid very, very shortly. Just wait for the time to tick down and end the qualifying period of the race session. Right then, so your grid here tonight. Apologies for that, your Greg here. So yeah, your grid here tonight. So it'll be Greg Mitchell on that pole position. Nick Cleo, after a little bit of a worse run last time out, he's looking to claw back those points and maybe get back that championship lead which he lost last round. Nick Cleo starting in second in the number 69 machine, followed by David Reed in the number 52. Jake Vanosky starting 4th. Derek Grigsby starting 5th. Nick Vasquez starting 6th. Matt Kleeman starting 7th. Carter Lins, followed by Aaron Sayer. Stephen Gibson starting 10th. Followed by Dominic DeLeo. Charlie Gates Jr. starting P12. Followed by Tim Johnson in P13. Followed by Jared Reed. 5 tenths off the pace. He wasn't quite able to connect it, looks like, in qualifying. A championship leader all the way down in second to last place. So we'll definitely have to go on a charge here today, especially Texas not being a brilliant track for overtaking. He's definitely got some work cut out. However, though, Butch Taylor rounding out the grid in P15. Now as you wait for our drivers to roll out of pit road to begin the pace lap here tonight. Greg Mitchell leading him out in the number 2 machine. Not a man we always see out on that top spot, so definitely great job by him in that qualifying. Nick Cleo, obviously our reigning world champion as well, who'll be looking to get maximum points. He'll be all over the back of Greg Mitchell, I believe, to just try and get out ahead. But it looks like, though, Greg Mitchell will take the lower line, which means that he will have the quicker line, which means that Nick Cleo will have to fight really hard. You'll have to get a really good run on the outside to pose a chance of taking him into turn 1. Also a point to note, iRacing start zone is a new addition to the service. So when the pace car goes down pit road, the green flag will be waved at a random point within that restart zone, which will be labelled on the right hand side and in the grass on the left. So once as soon as you see those cars roll into that restart zone, the green flag will drop at any point. However though, on any restarts, as soon as the lead car goes into that restart zone, they can choose to go at any point they choose. But more importantly for now, it will be at a random time, which means that both drivers on the front row will stand up equal chance to get a good start here tonight. As it looks like the pace car has now gone down pit road as we approach the iRacing start zone. Advertised by the Geico blue branding. And it looks like we go green here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Greg Mitchell with a good start. Nick Cleo has got a brilliant slot to jump straight in behind. They're still going too wide further back, however, though. They're going to be number one machine is going to defend. On that inside line, Jake Vanoski on the outside of the 7 getting a good run there. Looks like David Reed is going to cut back across. No, he doesn't. He lets Jake Vanoski stay on the outside line. Wise choice. He knows the lower line is quicker. Jake Vanoski is stuck out there now. There's nothing much he can do. Unless that gap opens up for him, which it does. At the back, that's the 23 of Nick Vasquez on the outside of Matt Kleeman. Kleeman having the lower line does have the better run into the corner. Nick Vasquez now going too wide for a second with Carter Linton and number 4 machine. However, it looks like he'll just slot back in. Jake Vanoski is having another go though. David Reed now, he's overtaking down the inside. Followed by Derek Grigsby in the number 1 machine now. David Reed wasn't able to, the gap kind of closed up for him. He wasn't able to get back onto that low line, so he used his another position. However, there are 2 leaders, Greg Mitchell and Nick Cleo, stretching out that gap already. 8 tenths it is from Nick Cleo back to Jake Vanoski in 3rd. However, though, Jake Vanoski with a brilliant start up 1 spot from where he began up into P3 here tonight. So it looks like they've actually going back already. As I just watched Carter Linz on the outside. Dominic DeLeo on the inside. It looks like now the driver on the outside is just stuck there. Anyone that's on the outside is just a freight train of person on the outside there. So it looks like Jared Reed is all the way up into P8 already. So all the way from the back of the grid, he's made his way halfway up 6 spots from where he began. You can see he is on an absolute mission here tonight. And he knows he needs to make sure the points that Nick Cleo gets, or at least the margin, is much smaller, or extend this championship lead here tonight. As we are starting to go into the dying stages of the season, every point counts here tonight, so therefore every position matters. As it looks like Matt Kleeman has hung out to dry on the outside line, loses the spot to Derek Grigsby. And is forced to slot back in. You can now see that single foul starting to form like I was talking about earlier. That low line, that first groove is really where you want to be. Being a little bit bumper to bumper there, Nick Vasquez trying to keep Dominic DeLeo behind him. As it looks like Derek Grigsby is down the inside of Jake Vanoski for the number 3 spot. Looks like both drivers getting a nice run through the mid corner. It'll be a run down to turn 3. Who will have the better speeds? It looks like it's going to be Vanoski slightly on the outside line. However, though, Derek Grigsby back into turn 3. On that inside line, just gets the run. As it looks like Nick Vasquez is hung out to dry once again, forced up onto that high line. He's dropped on positions already. However, though, that gives Jared Reed another spot here tonight. The number 5 Ford Mustang is definitely on an absolute mission, as I said before. He does not want Nick Cleo to gain any kind of points on him. But further ahead, Matt Freeman on the outside of Jared Reed. Jared Reed making up another spot, up into P6 now. Now he sees Dominic DeLeo ahead, and he wants that position as quick as he can, because he knows that as soon as the tyres start to wear, he's not going to be able to run that outside line as much, and he won't be able to make as many overtakes. Nick Vasquez now dropping back in front of Carter Linz there on the 4 machine. Going back to our leaders though, Nick Cleo has been able to take the lead of the race here in the number 69 machine. Greg Mitchell slowly, I say slowly, slightly behind in the number 2 machine. Chevrolet top 4 as well. The Chevrolets out in force here tonight and getting those constructor points. Nick Cleo doing a brilliant job. He's done all he needs at the moment. All he has to do is just hold that position. However, it looks like we've got more action further back. Going 3 wide for a second there. Jake Benoski on the inside line. Jared Reed being able to get ahead up into P5 there. Already in 10 laps. Only a 9th of the race so far. He's already made his way up. 2/3 of the positions he needs to get up to Nick Leo. He does have the pace. Will he be able to make up for the qualifying mistakes that he made? As it looks like Carter Lins is down the inside of Nick Vasquez in the 23 machine. Vasquez forced to quit out as 2 wide becomes less and less of an option here tonight. It looks like he misses the bottom groove and just loses a bit of ground to the number 4 machine. It looks like Matt Kleeman's gone to the outside line, giving Carter Lins the chance. A lot of back and forth action here down the low end of the top 10. You gotta think though, Texas is very, very hard, independent on that right front tyre, so the more you go too wide, the more you're going to burn it up, and the less tyre you're going to have near to the end of the stint. So the drivers are definitely going to have to be a bit careful now, kind of step a little bit careful on how much they battle and how much tyre they burn up, because the more they burn up, the slower they're going to be at the end of the stint, and the more compromised they're going to be for the second or after the first run of pit stops. Definitely man of the hour so far. Our highest climber, Jared Reed, the championship leader in the 5 Mustang machine, is now up 9 spots where he began. P14 to P5 in the first 13 laps of this race, and he has Dominic DeLeo in his sights. He wants to get past him as soon as possible. I say as soon as possible. I think he knows he's still got a long way of the race to go, and now is the point where you've got to settle in. However, he does see the 7 of Jake Benoski now, as he has a look around the outside. Soon it feels like he's trying to go too wide. You can see getting very, very close to the 5 machine there. Almost banging doors there coming into turn 1. Looks like Jake Benoski. As it looks, it's quite easy to go too wide through 1 and 2, but through 3 and 4 the inside line does have the advantage, but it looks like Benoski in the 7 machine is able to claw that position back. So, Jared Reed now shuffled back down to P6. He could definitely throw a curveball in there, as he has someone to fight against. He has someone he doesn't really want to battle, because especially being at his point in the championship, you do not want to be fighting people lower down, because all they're doing is just stopping you from catching your championship rival, and you're just losing points almost unnecessarily. Looks like we have some fans cheering on Greg Mitchell and Derek Grigsby. Derek Grigsby there. So, Derek Grigsby in the number 1 machine. In P3 as it stands, at 2 spots from where he began. Started P5, now in P3, chasing down our leaders, 6/10 the gap. Derek Grigsby has the number 1 machine. Will he be able to close that gap and challenge later on in the race? He does have the pace so far, but is he burning up his tyres? We'll have to wait and see how his race plays. But at the moment, it's looking very, very good for him. This is exactly how he wants his race to play out, because if the drivers in front do some more battling, he could be within a shot of this. He could have a chance of leading today's race. As we're on lap 18 of 90, as we just pull up a NASCAR live timing tower, as you can see our leader of Nick Leo, followed by Greg Mitchell, Grigsby followed by DeLeo, or Dominic DeLeo, excuse me, and Jake Vinosky are top 5. As we shuffle a little bit back though, Jared Reed is now in a battle with Carter Lins. Not quite what he wanted. I think what Jared Reed has done, he's burned up a lot of tyre trying to get up the grid quickly. And he's now... Oh, you can just see he missed the groove there and went right up into that wall. It wasn't much of a hit, so I don't think he'll have damage from that, but I was definitely hurt his run. And now we have the other member of the Reed family. And as I've been informed, he's not his brother, he's actually his father. So, David Reed, the older man, having a go at Jared Reed. They're getting very, very close there. Nearly hitting the bumper as the 52 now down the inside of Jared Reed. Can David Reed pull this off on the inside? We know the outside is powerful through 1 and 2. However, through 3 and 4, if they still stay too wide, does favour that inside line. Looks like David Reed is able to take the position. So Jared Reed up into P4 at one point is now shuffled back down to P8. Still up 6 spots from where he began. However though, he is no longer our highest climber. Dominic DeLeo in the 22 machine is up 7 spots from where he began. Jared Reed was fighting him before, but it looks like DeLeo was able to look after his tyres a little bit better and stay up in that position, as Jared Reed wasn't quite able, I believe, to save as much tyres and maybe just use a little bit too much early on, as it looks like he's settling behind the 52 machine. He's going to maybe use him to save tyres and just stick behind, not fight him, and hopefully he can lead him back to the people in front of him. As we can just hear though the engines revving down. As we get further and further into this first stint, you're going to hear these drivers lifting off more and more as they're trying to save as much tyres, because the slower you go through the corner, the less pressure you're putting on that right front tyre, which means in theory you'll save it and not use up as much grip so it's available for longer, or that you can use it later on in the stint. However though, man of question, Aaron Sayer in the number 42 machine on lap 23 is coming back. The challenge, Jared Reed in number 5 machine getting very, very close to his bumpers. He's going to switch to the inside line. Jared Reed knows not to fight it too much. He's not going to put up a battle and just cut straight in behind. The 42 machine looks like he may have been able to save some tyres, or he just found a recent, yeah, or maybe he's found a new line that works for him even more. He's able to make his way up now as he goes past David Reed in the 52 machine as well. At the back, it looks like David Reed's on the outside here, followed by Jared Reed. Jared Reed looks like he has the edge, and he does have the low line coming into turn 3. But I have no doubt he'll be able to stay ahead, which he does. Jared Reed now leads the Ray couple, the 5 and the 52, running 8th and 9th in today's race. As we have a little bit of a battle further back, the P12 here, Butch Taylor and Tim Johnston here tonight. Tim Johnston on the outside in the Toyota Camry. And they're both in Toyota Camrys. Butch Taylor in the number 33 machine, holding that inside line strong through 1 and 2, as he cuts back in front of Tim Johnston there to make sure he doesn't get the run, but still manages to maintain that low line coming through turns 3 and 4. Moving back up front a little bit though. We see a little bit of battle brewing. Aaron Sayer with the recent run of pace, getting onto the bumper of Carter Lins now on the number 4 machine. As he dives down for the inside into turn 3, he's able to make the move stick on Carter Lins. He now sees Jake Vinosky in the number 7 machine. Aaron Sayer is on a charge now in the number 42 machine. He's just going to jump on board with them now as he sides it up the number 7 of the Alleyback machine. You can see taking so much care, so much lifting going on in these corners to make sure they don't burn up that right front, as it looks like he's diving for the inside. However, he can't quite get a nose in. Jake Vinosky managed to stay ahead on that outside line. However, He'll have the draft coming down the main straightaway, as he now has the inside line coming into 1 and 2. However, we do know the outside line does have some power, but it looks like Jake Vinosky chooses to fight another day and cuts back in behind Aaron Sayer. So, Aaron Sayer of 4 spots from where he began, now up into P5 here tonight. He does have around about a 4-second gap to Dominic DeLeo in front. So now is his opportunity to save some tyres and get back at him later on the stint, as he looks like he's pushing so hard out of turn 4 that he scrapes the wall there on that 29 of 90. Using through that middle groove there. Definitely a lot more fighting than I was expecting here tonight. Texas doesn't usually pose up too much battling. However, it looks like Derek Grigsby, the favourite number 1, has gone down to pit road. The first man down, followed by Dominic DeLeo as well, as DeLeo is exiting pit road now. Derek Grigsby in the 1 machine going into his pit stall now. Dominic DeLeo, oh excuse me, I keep getting the Leos mixed up. That's Nick Leo in another 69 machine. The reigning world champion able to stretch a 6/10 gap now to his nearest driver, Greg Mitchell, in the 2 machine. Both white Chevrolets putting up a battle here tonight, but it looks like Nick Leo's edging him slightly. Greg Mitchell able to stay behind with the draft down the straights. He has gained a little bit there, around about 2 to 3 tenths between these drivers. They've now closed, as it looks like Aaron Sayer and Jared Reed and Tim Johnston both going down pit road. So it looks like on lap 32 of 90 they're diving down into the pits and hitting on lap 32. That makes me think maybe this will be a 2-stop race here tonight. So Texas is burning up those tyres, and I feel like he'll be faster to take 2 new fresh sets instead of 1. Meaning that they can push a little bit harder to the end of the race. Maybe we'll see some extra strategies. Maybe our leaders are trying to stretch it as long as they can and maybe think about the 1-stop here tonight. That will save them significant amounts of time. However though, how much time will they lose being on the older tyres? Pretty much for their entire stint. As it looks like more drivers going to pit road. David Reed, Carter Lins and Jake Banovsky. So, only your top 6 haven't pitted. So the drivers staying out: Nick Leo, Greg Mitchell, Vasquez, Taylor, Kleeman and Charlie Gates Jr. are your only drivers not to pit so far. Jared Reed then, he's out in P10 as it stands. Bear in mind the top 6 still haven't pitted, but he's taken a different strategy to Nick Leo, and he chooses to go down pit road to get those fresh tyres and gain that advantage back quickly. Maybe he's thinking about a 2-stop. I would imagine that he would be pitting at this point in the race, because it looks like the tyre wear is just a little bit too much.
Hitting this lap.
Switch back to Charlie Gates Jr. now. He's getting right close to the back of that Kleeman, the number 19 machine. Will he be able to size up a move? We'll have to wait and see. You have to remember these tyres are really old on these 2 cars, so there won't be as much battling, or maybe they're just using the last bit they have left before they go down pit road. As it looks like Matt Kleeman ducks down to the bottom and lets those drivers go, as it looks like he may be going down into pit road as well. However though, Carter Lynn's on those fresher tyres getting past the 33 of Butch Taylor, so you can just see the pace difference between the older tyres for drivers who haven't pit yet on 37 lap olds compared to Carter Lynn's only a couple laps older on his end. You can just see those tyres do make a difference to how quickly you can go on track, but especially if the drivers around you haven't pit or on an alternate strategy to you and you come out in clean air, it's very difficult to gauge how much tyre saving you have to do and how much you're burning on those tyres because you have nothing to go off. Usually you'd use the drivers around you to just see what your pace is like, see if they're saving it any more than you are. But that's the struggle. I've fallen victim to it in league races. It's a very, very easy thing to do, to just push a little bit too hard on those fresh tyres. You just eat up so much to begin with that in this middle stint you just can't quite stretch them as long. As we hit lap 40 of 90 now. Our top three, Nick Cleo, Greg Mitchell and Vasquez. As it looks like now, Nick Cleo is able to stretch a pretty big gap. 2 seconds it is to Greg Mitchell, so I'm not sure if something may have happened with some other cars that have caused that to happen, or maybe he got a bit loose. We do not know. As there we see Dominic DeLeo unlapping himself here tonight. As I just watch on the gearbox of Nick Cleo, you can just see the approaching Derek Grigsby in the one machine preparing the overtake. Apologies, that's the number 11. That is the number 11 of Tim Johnson you see in the rearview mirror, followed by Derek Grigsby, as it looks like Matt Kleeman is choosing to go down pit road in the number 19 machine. Which leaves only 5 drivers, I believe. Yeah, there's only 5 drivers here tonight who haven't gone down pit road, being Carly Gates Jr., Butch Taylor, Vasquez, Greg Mitchell, and your leader, Nick Cleo. Now is the middle stint of the race where tyre saving matters. However long you can stretch this middle stint depends, or dictates even, how fresh your tyres you'll have by the end of the race. If you stretch it longer, you'll be able to pit later and have the fresher tyres near to the end of the race, which means you're able to make up positions really, really quickly and just overall have the advantage over the drivers around you. Or if you choose to go really aggressive and make up the time you've lost in this middle stint, that may cause you to then have to pit early and have the inferior tyres, as it looks like Greg Mitchell, our second place driver, chooses to take the plunge into pit road in number 2 machine, putting on those fresh 4 tyres as he rolls out of pit road. Now right then, only 3 drivers left to go down pit road here tonight, as it looks like 2 of them are going to go down pit road. Nick Cleo and Butch Taylor going down the pit lane now in the number 69 and the 33 machine. It should leave Dominic DeLeo as he crosses the line, your race leader, if Nick Cleo can't come out in front. But it looks like he will have a shot at it. Dominic DeLeo now coming out of turn 4 as Nick Cleo pulls into his pit stall. I think he will be able to take it. Yes, he does. Dominic DeLeo taking the lead of the race in number 22 machine. However, Nick Cleo is going to be rolling out in just a second, and he will have those 15 or around about 10 lap pressure tyres, which is a massive thing. You saw the drivers with the fresh tyres as they've just pitted, passing the drivers on the older tyres. You can see how much of a difference it makes. So you can see why you may want the fresher tyres, as it will help you massively. Nick Leo being able to save his tyres and go the long run, hitting at the midpoint in this race. So on 46 of 90, I think Leo's going for the one stop. He has to be. As Charlie Gates Jr. on that 46 and the 55 going down pit road. Now everyone has gone through their pit cycles. So it looks like he overshoots his pit stall, which is not very good for him. He'll lose him vital time. Well, a pointless time really. It's time that's very difficult to make back on ovals like this and still keep your tyres in check. As it looks like the gap between everybody is starting to stretch out a little bit now. This is the calm before the storm, I'd like to say, because that final stint is where people like to push. People don't tend to take much risks in this middle stint because it's all about stretching those tyres as long as you can. However though, drivers on the one stop, Nick Leo, Charlie Gates Jr. and possibly Butch Taylor as well. Could definitely throw a curveball in here. Nick Leo knows, or to be fair, he had a pretty sizable lead. Only Mitchell and possibly Derek Grigsby had a chance there, and maybe snatching the lead from him. So it wasn't really much risk to stay on the two stop. There would have, if he made those mistakes, pretty much guaranteed him at least the top three. However, he chooses to take a massive gamble here, trying to make the one stop work. We can see he still had pace for a very long time. He was able to save his tyres a lot, which he may be able to replicate in the second stint, or even do better. But he knows he's got to make sure these tyres are not burnt up. He takes the best amount of care he can. Does it look like Nick Vasquez is the last man to go down pit road, locking up those front tyres, trying to slow down in time to that pit speed in the number 23 machine. So now that is everybody's pit cycles complete here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, just past the halfway mark, lap 50 of 90. However, we're going to pull up our pit strategy chart and we can see our top 10 here tonight. Dominic DeLeo, Grigsby, Reed, Mitchell. Or excuse me, your top three. You can see they're going for that two stop. They pitted around about lap 30, which is a third of the way into the race. They'll be looking to make their second pit stop at around about 10 laps time to make it to the end. But you can see Leo and Mitchell on that top 10, both pitting a lap 42 and 44 apiece. Pretty much slap bang the halfway mark in today's race. So it looks like they'll be going for the one stop strategy. Now, that means that they'll have to, if I haven't explained this already, stretch their tyres a lot longer than everyone else. Everyone else can afford to burn up those tyres a little bit more, go a little bit more aggressive and punch in those lap times quicker. And then when their tyres drop off, just duck down to pit road to grab some new tyres and do it all again. To move slightly back, it looks like Jake Bonoski is able to size up a move from Carter Linz. He's hunting for it as he gets right on the back of the bumper of the 4. He knows it is the middle stint and it is the one you want to stretch as long as you can. Will he take chances? Will he try and fight, or will he stick in behind? Save those tyres for later on in the race in a number 7 machine. It looks like Carter Linz takes that middle groove and looks like he's giving the position to Jake Bonoski, not wanting to put up much of a fight, allowing the 7 to go past him. They're still going side by side down the back straight. However, Jake Bonoski does have that inside groove, so it looks like he'll be able to take the position, moving up into the 7th spot here tonight as he recovers back Now he's down 3 spots from where he began. However, that may all change with the drivers doing the one-stop strategy and all the other different strategies and all the different ages of tyres. He can still make his way back up. Our highest climber at the moment, Dominic DeLeo, in the number 22 machine as we pace as we phase back to him. Pointing the cameras for the 22. He's doing a brilliant job out front here tonight. However, our net leaders at the moment, Nick Leo and Greg Mitchell. Greg Mitchell has been able to edge his way ahead. Looking back in the number 2 machine, you can just about see Nick Cleo in the back of the camera as we pan the shots. You can see, because Greg Mitchell pit earlier, he had the fresher tyres and was able to put in those quicker lap times to begin with, able to undercut Nick Cleo, as it looks like Jared Reed on 57 of 60, 3 laps before the 2/3 mark, has been able to, he's ducked down into pit road in the 5 machine, taking his second and last stop of the night. In the 5 machine, the first man to go down pit road as well, leaving him 32 laps on those tyres, or 33 laps, excuse me, till the end of the race, which can be done. However, it is, will be the longest stint he's done so far. It looks like David Reed in the 52 machine also going down pit road on that 58 of 90, also short of the half or the 3/4 way mark of 2/3. I'm tired. And it looks like also the one of Derek Grigsby, the famous number 1, is going down pit road for his final stop on that 59 of 90, slap bang in the middle, or slap bang onto that perfect pit time. So he looks like he's going for the 30 lap strategy. As you bring up our pit strategy board once again here tonight, we can see our top 10 pit strategy. We can see Dominic DeLeo is now gone 30 laps on his tyres. As I say that, I called it, he's gone down pit road. Nick Leo takes the lead now in the 69 machine. Dominic DeLeo and the drivers taking the 2 stops will play chase for the remainder of this race. As it looks like, yes, I'm sorry I missed that, ladies and gents, but Nick Leo has been able to get past Greg Mitchell, able to take that spot away and move up into that provisional first place. Nick Leo is on those 2 lap pressure tyres though, and that's why he's able to get past. As we get further on into the stint, if he handles the tyres the same, it will give him 2 more laps. So for example, if Mitchell's tyres die off, Nick Leo will have 2 more laps before his tyres die off. Think about that, that's 2 laps of quicker lap times. He's just 2 laps ahead pretty much in the cycle of how the tyres wear. So that's just going to give him the advantage for the rest of the stint if he keeps him in check. As it looks like Jake Vanoski in the 7 machine coming down pit road as well. So now is the time our 2 stoppers are going to think about coming down to pit road, making their final stop. Nick Leo, Mitchell, our 2 leaders choosing to go for the 1 stop. We'll see if that is a better strategy or the 2 stop, giving us a little bit of drama in the dying embers of this race here tonight. You've never seen much strategy game here in the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series. Pretty much only been 1-stop races. This is the first race I can remember which has involved more than 1 pit stop for the majority of the drivers. As it looks like the 2-stop is the preferred strategy. As Butch Taylor and Aaron Slayer also going down pit road now as well. As we chip back in with our number 1 Derek Grigsby. He's doing an absolutely brilliant job there in the P6, I believe, yes. He's sitting in P6 as it stands. It does say he is 1 lap down the timing tower, but that's because he's taken his pit stop. But he will be able to get past our leaders and get his lap back once he gets back around, because he will have the fresh tyres to do so. As he's now coming to the back of Matt Kleeman, as he's dived down the inside of turn 1, making it look easy in the one machine, taking that P5 spot away. Now he sees Dominic DeLeo ahead of him. As it go on board with the number 1 machine. He's just blocked by that middle bar, you can see him now. That car in front coming into the little bit of the trial section into turn 1. That is Dominic DeLeo, that is the man in front of him. Then we can see Greg Mitchell past him. Your P2 man, as they're able to soon unlap themselves and put them back onto that lead lap here tonight. As you can see, Greg Mitchell choosing to let these drivers past as they go down the inside. After Grigsby hunts down Dominic DeLeo. In this final stint at the race, he knows he won't be able to overtake him on strategy, so he has to use his racing might to try and get past him. Grigsby still could win this if he plays his cards right, but he will have to take care of those tyres, and he does have 23 laps to get pretty much a whole lap on. However though, only 30-second laps here at Texas, it can be done. As he now makes his way down the inside of Nick Leo, putting himself back onto the lead lap, giving him 22 laps. Catch his way back up to the front of the number 1 machine. He has a challenge on him. He does have a challenge on his hands, but I'm sure he'll do the absolute best he can. With 21 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway, and your top 3 is Nick Leo, Mitchell, Dominic DeLeo. However though, point to note there, Grigsby on a charge. He could definitely still get at least a podium here tonight as he sizes it up. Within a second now of Dominic DeLeo in front in the 22 machine as they make their way past Stephen Gibson. So then, Joe Grigsby is still on that charge as he gets ever and ever closer to the back of that 22. As he wants to make this move now, this is his opportunity to do it. However, he doesn't want to battle and lose time, because every second here is vital to being able to catch the leaders once again. So if he can stick behind maybe and save some tyres for later on, that is exactly what he should do. As the gap is staying around about 0.6 of a second between the 22 and the 1 machine. get those beautiful static shots of these two Gen 7 NASCARs battling it out. The number 3 spot. 17 laps to go here tonight. And the race is definitely not over yet. Heading back to Carter Lynn's in the number 4 machine. We're getting close to the back around Sayer and front. They come back onto the bumper of Aaron Sayer. You can just see Carter Lynn's poke his nose in there. Oh, the 42 machine. No, he is there and ready for the move. As you can see, there is cloud cover over the track tonight, meaning that the track temperatures are cooler and the drivers are able to push a little bit more and the tyres will last a tiny bit longer. Though that makes much of a difference with the two-stop strategy being the preferred one. However, it does mean they will last a little bit longer than they ordinarily would. As we have 15 laps to go, we have gone green all the way here tonight. Just what? Oh yeah, it's what we like to see. These drivers have massive respect for each other, and that's a massive thing this league is all about. They're all about respect and the great attitudes towards each other. As we pan down to the 23 of Nick Vasquez, they're on the inside line. In a battle with currently Aaron Sayer and Carter Lynn's. He will be on the outside line into turn 3 and 4, which basically means he's forced to drop back down low. However, he has just come out of pit road, so he will have those precious tyres on the wheel and come down pit road. I must be getting some names mixed up. He's still out, I believe, on the same set of tyres he's been on for a while, yes. He's been on these tyres approximately 27 laps and finally take the choice to go down pit road with 12 laps to go. Has he caught it a little bit short? And has he given himself enough time to make up the ground that he loses by staying even longer on those older tyres? Right then, an update on Derek Grigsby. It looks like he's about 2 seconds behind Dominic DeLeo, who is 20 seconds, or no, 16 seconds the gap between him and the leaders, so it's coming down more and more to Greg Mitchell. However, Nick Leo has been able to stretch himself a 4.5 second gap here tonight with 10 laps to go. That should be sufficient if nothing else happens to secure him the win. All he's got to do is bring it home now. He can take less risks and just make sure he gets that car in one piece to the finish line and down into victory lane. You see that gap is coming down between Dominic DeLeo and Greg Mitchell. However, I don't think it is quite a second a lap, or 2 seconds a lap, which they need now. They have 10 laps to do 20 seconds. That means they would have to catch at least 2 seconds a lap, and it doesn't seem like they're able to do that. Only, I believe, we'll see when they cross the line what the time difference is. As it looks like, yeah, they did run 1 second quicker. So Dominic DeLeo and Derek Grigsby running times a second quicker than both of our leaders. However, though, that will not be quite enough to catch them by the end of this race. 8 laps to go at Texas Motor Speedway, and Dominic DeLeo has this in the bag if he doesn't do anything else. Greg Mitchell following behind 5 seconds, the gap in P2. He also is now thinking that he needs to bring it home. not take any risks with the car and just take the points. However though, Jared Reed, our championship leader, although he is a lap down currently and making his way back up to the leaders, he is in P5. And Nick Leo currently in the lead of the race, meaning that he regained significant points. We'll have to see after the race if that does tip it back over into Nick Leo's favour. However though, this is not what Jared Reed wants. Race Championship hopes he wants the gap to be bigger between Nick Leo and himself. He wants to make sure that gap is as big as possible, and he wants to minimise the amount of points lost and maximise the points that he gains each race. He hasn't had any laps led here tonight either, which means he won't have the extra points for that. Nick Leo will. So, this looks like it's going to be a race in Nick Leo's hands here tonight, if nothing else happens with 6 laps to go. Just a quick update, it looks like David Reed here tonight has had to park it up into the virtual hauler early. I'm not quite as to sure why that has happened, however, he has chosen to quit out of this race here tonight. Tim Johnston has spent quite a while down in pit road. I'm not sure if he's getting some damage fixed, or it looks like he's thrown in the towel as well, as he can't lose any more positions. Nick Leo doing an absolutely phenomenal job extending the gap to Greg Mitchell and P2. He's done all he can tonight to close that gap to Jared Reed and still keep himself within a shot of the championship. However, it is still looking very, very close, and this is exactly the results that Nick Leo needs to give himself the best chance coming into the final few races. As he pan back, Jared Reed is getting a little bit of a tussle with Carter Linz. Carter Linz, I believe, able to get past him. Jared Reed now into 6th place, as Jake Vanoski in the number 7 machine is also getting closer. So it looks like Jared Reed is running slightly more on tyres than the cars around him, and he's starting to pull back a little bit now. 2 laps to go here tonight. Will he be able to hold off Jake Vanoski? Or will Jake Vanoski able to take that P6 spot from him? We'll have to see, but he does look quick. Jake Vanoski is getting closer and closer. It looks like he's going to go down the inside into turn 3. Jake Vanoski able to take the position away from Jared Reed. Jared Reed going down from 5th all the way to 7th in 2 laps here. So if Jake Vanoski can hold this together, that would mean even more devastation for Jared Reed in the amount of points he'll gain from this race. However though, the man of the hour, Nick Leo in the 69 machine, coming out of turn 4 as he crosses the line to win the race here tonight at Texas. He is the winner of round 8 of the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series, sponsored by Bookkicker and Next Level Racing. And Greg Mitchell is about to cross the line, confirming that P2 spot, followed by Dominic DeLeo and Derek Grigsby coming home in P4 here tonight. Absolutely solid performance from him, a hardest charger, up 8 spots from where he started. Dominic DeLeo coming home in that P3 spot after starting all the way back in P11. So an absolutely brilliant job from him. As we're waiting for these drivers to get up into the commentary booth in just a minute here, so we can have a quick chat to them about the race. As it looks like all the drivers have crossed the line now. So here are your race results. Nick Leo coming home in 1st, followed by Greg Mitchell in 2nd. Dominic DeLeo, your top 3. Derek Grigsby in 4th, followed by Carter Linz, Jake Vanofsky, Jared Reed coming home in P7. followed by Aaron Sayer, Charlie Gates Jr., Matt Kleeman, followed by Nick Vasquez, Bush Taylor, Stephen Gibson, Tim Johnston, and David Reed, rounding out your top 15 drivers. As we can see, the burnouts by Dominic DeLeo there in a well-deserved, really. He drove a brilliant race, and he definitely deserved to celebrate that one. So then, at third place man, Dominic DeLeo, how do you feel after that one? It's a solid performance, some solid points for the team.
Yeah, hey Finley. I think that there's gonna be talk about the one stop, just two stop strategy. Burnt off our stuff pretty good, trying to get to the front because we had such a bad qualifying run. So if we stayed on the one stop, we probably would have finished right where we are. Because Nick and Greg started up front, and they actually were tandem drafting for a while. And on a big racetrack like this, that's a lot of extra speed you get on the straightaways. But so by the time I worked my way through the field on the first stop, I really had no choice but to try two stop. But I don't really love this track. I just think it's kind of but no cautions. It was good racing, and pretty happy with the top three.
Yeah, it was good racing. Not as much action as we have seen this season, but definitely was still a good race to watch. Before we sign off, though, is anyone cheering you on from home? Any sponsors, friends, family you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife, thank the sponsor, Magyar Bank, 22 Zekas Motorsports. I'd like to thank everybody at Rubbins Racin. I'd like to shout out Butt Kicker, the main sponsors, along with Next Level Racing. I thank Jared and everybody, Steve, David, at the league. It's been fun, and then you at One to Go Studios and Finley. Excited to go watch it back, and congrats to Nick and Greg for a solid 1-2 there.
Of course, thank you very much, and hopefully we see you up here more often.
Thank you. Hope so too. Have a good night.
Yeah. That was Dominic DeLeo, your third place man. However, your second place man, Greg Mitchell, starting on the pole position, however, not being able to convert it to the win. How do you feel after that one?
Oh, well, it's bittersweet. Happy to get second. Definitely want to win. Keep getting these second place podiums, which is good to be running up front, but be good to get the win one of these days.
Yeah, you definitely still had the pace, but near to the end, you were starting to drop off. Was that tyre wear, or what do you think that was?
Yeah, I pitted a couple laps before Nick did. I also hit the wall about 2/3 of the way through that first run, so I was kind of killing my lap times a little bit. So I just couldn't hang with him. I was going as hard as I could, but I think the damage kind of did me in after I did that.
Yeah. However, though, still P2, still massive points to help you in that championship and just help you, I suppose, just finish higher. But yeah, is there anyone, friends, family, sponsors you'd like to shout out before we sign off?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you to Next Level and Butt Kicker for sponsoring the league. Thank you to you guys at Goon Squad for calling the shots. We appreciate you guys every week.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you on the top spot sometime soon.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
See you next time. Bye. That was Greg Mitchell, your top man. Now, Nick DeLeo coming home in that first place spot, finishing, qualifying set. Actually, I say you qualified second on the grid. No, you didn't. You made your way, or actually, no, I'm getting you confused, Jared Reed. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. You did start P2 on the grid, didn't you? So from P2, challenging Greg Mitchell all the way. You just seem to be so confident out there with the tyre wear as well. You just did a better job than those around you. What was the idea going in there, especially with the one-stop strategy?
Well, like the usual, my strategy was to go in and not spin the car out, but I was starting to question the one-stop strategy. I went into the race planning on doing it. I saw in practice it could do 45 laps, so I was like, I'll split it in half, and there was a few times there I was starting to get worried, but it paid off pretty good tonight.
Yeah, it paid off very well. Only 4 drivers finishing on the lead lap. Pretty much all of them doing the one-stop strategy, so it did seem like it was the better one to choose. Yeah, I haven't really got much else to say. It wasn't the most action-packed race. It did go single file pretty quickly. But going through the race, what was going through your head, especially when you were racing close with Mitchell? Were you more worried about tyres or were you worried about track position?
A little bit of both. I was running with Greg and during practice. I think we were at least 15 laps, and we were just trading spots. So I knew I was. We were about the same speed. So I just knew I had to get the lead early because it's pretty tough to pass here. So I just got the lead and just held on to it.
Yeah. Is there anyone else you'd like to shout out before we sign off? Friends, family, sponsors?
Yeah, just the usual. All the league sponsors, Bookkicker, of course, and Next Level Gaming, and Jewel. Didn't get much opportunity tonight, do I? At the Jewel, no cautions. So, but yeah, everybody at the Team Goon Squad, you guys are doing good.
Thank you very much. You always appreciate the feedback. Yeah, hopefully we'll. Just quick thing before we sign off as well, though, that will help you in the championship. Obviously, because you did drop down to second, Jared Reed, being able to edge you last race is exactly what you wanted. Him finishing all the way back down in P7 and you leading laps and finishing first in the race. Surely that's got to be a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to do. I know it's pretty close. I've had a few bad races though this season, so it's going to be a tough fight, I think. But hopefully we can pull off another championship.
Hopefully we see some great action as well. Yeah, hope you see you on the top spot next week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yep, see ya.
That was Nick Cleo, and that was your top 3 here tonight. That was an absolute... Well, it wasn't the most action-packed of races. Definitely one of the cleaner ones, and we did go green all the way. Second time in the season we have done that. I would say second time running. But we did have Bristol Dirt last time. We had definitely more than one caution. However, it's been a great time commentating it. It's been a great watch, especially for the viewers at home, I'm sure. My name is Vinny Fitzsimmons on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting Network at 1080p 60 frames a second. We'll see you next week for the race at Kansas, 90 laps on June 28th. Make sure you tune in. Same time as usual, race starting at 8 PM Eastern time. And we'll see you then next week. Goodbye.